video is about me and my horse's journey using positive reinforcement to overcome behavior problems and learn how to ride again. I was introduced to positive reinforcement when I was 19 years old. I'm around 35 years old now. When I was working at the Woodland Park Zoo Pony Barn as a volunteer. And at the time, I had been raised the way that most people have working with horses, which is using punishment and negative reinforcement. And I mistakenly thought that negative reinforcement was positive reinforcement because it seemed so positive compared to the punishment that was often doled out on the horses. At the Woodland Park Zoo Pony Barn, I met a lady who came from a dressage background, and she used positive reinforcement with horses, and it seemed far more natural and like a better experience to me. And my feeling is that life is short, and we don't need horses anymore to do a lot of the things that we used to. We're not taking these horses into war. We're not using them for the most part to plow our fields. This is just supposed to be a positive interaction. Furthermore, Shadow is now about 25 years old. So I've known him for about 20 years of my life, nearly. I adopted him 4 years ago with his senior buddy, who at the time was about 34 years old when I adopted him, and he just died this last year at the age of 37. Shadow was just diagnosed with Cushing's disease, and so my goal is to have the most fun with him in the last years of his life because he has been an amazing companion to me, and I hope to give him the best treatment that he can possibly have. In this video, you're going to see me just doing regular grooming with him and then working with the dewormer. And Shadow is absolutely terrified of the dewormer, so it gives you a good idea of the basic steps of desensitization. As a disclaimer, I have worked with Shadow before on desensitization, and so it goes a little bit faster than it will with a horse that you were just starting these steps with. And I will, as we get to that section, I will explain a little bit more about what I'm doing. But in this next section, you're going to see me grooming Shadow, and it looks very simple and easy. But the most important thing to notice is that he is standing still for the most part, most of the time. And how I taught him how to do this is I would be out in the field with him, and every time he stopped and he had his feet in a pretty square position, I would click him and give him a treat. And then I started making it a little bit longer so there'd be more pauses, and I would wait until his head was completely forward, and then I would click him and give him a treat. And so this is actually one of his favorite things to do. He loves just standing there and getting groomed and getting his treats. Who wouldn't? It's like a spa day. And it gives him a little bit of confidence before I go into the thing that's going to be scary. The other thing is that I had an unfortunate experience where I had him tied, and for those who have not done this before, congratulations, this was a huge mistake on my part, and I hope that you can learn from me. But I walked around the corner for a second to grab the grooming kit, which I hadn't had out. I should have had it out. He got his leg caught over the lead rope and started bucking and pulling and pulled his poor little leg and fell on the ground. And luckily when he fell on the ground, the thing was tied on a pole. This is another mistake of mine, but it was almost good that it was tied on a pole because he was able to get his leg out. He limped around after that for a week about. I had the vet come out, look at him. Thankfully, no permanent damage was done. But I decided after that I will try to do all grooming without him tied from then on, just because it's safer for us. You'll also notice that when I work with him with the dewormer, that he's not tied and I don't have a lead rope on him. I found that he's a lot more secure when he's able to run away, and so desensitization goes a lot faster. So with that, go ahead and watch this next part. I sped it up so that it goes a little bit faster and it's more interesting for you. What you want to know is how much he pauses and puts his head forward, and then I click him for that. I also try to vary the amount of time that I make him stand that way. What I found is that it's not good to continue pushing your animal for longer and longer responses when you are trying to stretch things out. One of the original mistakes that I made with clicker training, both with my horse and with I have 4 birds, is that once they learned something, I would try to push the envelope on it, and I would try to expand it way too quickly. And the animals would eventually start losing confidence and give up. And what I found is that if I actually backtrack a little bit and continue rewarding the easier thing after rewarding a little bit, pushing the envelope, that they gain confidence a lot faster and they'll learn the harder thing much, much faster. And this is counterintuitive because I was raised to think that you continue pushing it as hard as possible and that's when you make the fastest gains. And that is actually not the case.
Boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good horse.
Yeah.
Good boy. Good horse. Good boy.
Hi YouTube, in this next section you're going to see me working on desensitizing Shadow to the dewormer. You're going to notice that I tend to come up to him and stand slightly behind his shoulder. I learned this trick from Buck Brannahan, who actually uses a lot of negative reinforcement in his training, but he is an extremely experienced trainer and he has picked up some very interesting things about body positioning compared to the horses and helping them feel more relaxed. And what I noticed in his desensitization work is that he was often approaching the horses from the shoulder as opposed to from the front. And when I tried this with Shadow, I realized that it actually calmed him down quite quickly compared to approaching him from the front. And so in my desensitization work, I often come up to Shadow and you will see me touch him on the butt some of the time, which is where he feels the most confident because he could just go ahead and kick anything that was hurting him in that area. And then I work my way up to his shoulder. Sometimes I will actually just approach directly from the shoulder and then he'll turn his butt to me and I will just go ahead and touch in that area and let him get used to the sensation, work my way up to the shoulder, and I tend to stay slightly behind the shoulder when I go up towards the head. And the reason for this is that it is a lot less intimidating to Shadow. If you ever try approaching a horse with something that they're scared of directly from the front, you're going to notice that they might rear up, they're going to throw their head up, you're going to be dealing with a lot of body positioning issues approaching from the front. Whereas if you approach directly from the shoulder and give the horse a little bit of time to get used to the situation, they will often let you get much closer, much more quickly than if you had approached them from the front. So here you're going to see me approach him with the dewormer, often from the shoulder, touching him with the butt, and then working my way up his neck and then eventually down his face while I remain at the position of the shoulder. And as I just explained, this is because it helps him feel more comfortable. I don't think that he would have let me approach him from the front, and I know from experience that when I approach him from the front with the dewormer, he actually becomes more and more terrified over time. You're also going to see me doing what I mentioned earlier in this video, which is where I push him to do something that's more difficult, and then when he successfully does it, I quickly reward him, and then I go back to something that he's a little bit more comfortable with. So I might run the dewormer down his face a little bit, and then when he starts feeling a little bit anxious, immediately give him a treat and then move back to something that's easier. So I might go back to the neck area or just touching him on the side with it. In any case, let me know what you think of this next section of the video. We are still working on desensitization, and there is a lot that we can learn from you, and hopefully that you can learn from us.
I thought you were chasing him away with that.
Good boy. Good pony. Good boy. That was so nice. Yeah. Good boy. Thank you. That's a good boy. Yes. What a good horse you are. Good boy. Very nice. Good boy. Good boy. Come on, Shadow, let's go over here. Come on. God, it's soupy over here. Come on, Shadow. Come here. Good boy. That was so nice. Good job. Yes, that was so nice. Let's go over here. Come on. Come on, Shadow. Good boy. That was so nice. Yes. Good boy. That is such a good horse. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. That was such a good choice. Yes, it was. That was such a good, handsome horse. Yes. Look how upset he is about this. Good boy. Gonna be surprised. Good boy.
I'm surprised he doesn't just spit it out after it goes in there.
Oh, he does. That's the second strategy. Good
And how does he even
boy.
get dewormed then?
Well, so far I've been giving him the good apples. He's learned.
That generally it's not great, but if it tastes like apple, he'll end up eating it once it's in there.
Good boy. Looks like this is getting a little close. Good boy. Good boy. Yes, that's not that bad, is it? Do that. Good boy, Shadow. Such a nice pony. See if he'll put his face over here. You gonna touch it? Good boy. Oh, we're feeling more comfortable. Good boy. Feeling so much more comfortable about this now. Yeah.